In this video I'm going to show you how to use the sheet metal tab to bend and fold what probably would be more likely to be acrylic in the school workshop, although it could of course be for sheet metal as well. And the product we're going to do is this acrylic shape here, which has been laser cut and then folded with a 30-degree bend upwards there and then a 25-degree bend there, and it's been rendered to give it the red glossy plastic finish. So I'll take you through that step by step. The shape's already drawn. It's been drawn as a flat shape, and in fact this was drawn in 2D Design and then imported as a DXF file, exported as the DXF file from 2D Design and then opened in SolidWorks as a 2D sketch. It's already been extruded. You can see there's a boss extrude to take it to 3mm of thickness, so it looks like a solid object already. But to be able to bend this, I now need to convert it to sheet metal. So I'm going to go to my sheet metal tab there. Now mine's already open. If I don't have that visible, then what you do is you right click on that menu and you can tick what it is that you want available. You can see there render tools can be switched off. I'm going to look for my sheet metal and switch that off. You can notice now it's gone from the menu. So I'm just going to go and right click again and turn back on the sheet metal, and you'll see the tab has reappeared. So go to sheet metal, and I need to convert this object to sheet metal. So I'm going to go to the top menu here and convert to sheet metal. And the first thing you'll recognise is this blue select box here. It needs to know the top surface that we're turning into sheet metal. So I'm going to click anywhere on the object, and it says face 1. It then wants to know the thickness of the sheet metal. Even though it's already a 3mm thick extruded shape, it wants to know the thickness of the sheet material we're making it from. So I've typed in 3 on a previous drawing and it's defaulted to that setting, and that's all I need to do at this point. So I can click on OK, and that's now converted to sheet metal. And in doing so, you'll notice the sheet metal tabs appeared with all these options on it, which are very specific to bending and shaping and folding metal. And in this case it works for acrylic very nicely as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a bend in between these two holes here. Those two holes are basically holes to stop the plastic continuing tearing when we make a fold across there. If we just laser cut and stopped to an end line, then bending on there could actually cause the plastic to keep on tearing. So by creating a curve, it prevents that happening. It's quite a good technique for school workshop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a sketched bend, which is this feature here. So I'm going to go to sketched bend, and it says on the menu on the left, select a plane of face on which to sketch the bend lines. So I need to choose this top face because I'm going to sketch on there a line between the centres of these circles where I want my bend to be. And you'll see that sketch 5 has appeared. So I'm going to click on there and go normal to. That turns it to face me, and I'm using the mouse roller wheel just to zoom in a little bit better. Then I'm going to use a simple sketch line, and I'm going to snap it to the centre of that circle and across to there. And I'm going to click on the green tick and accept that as an OK sketch. I'm now going to go Control 7 on the keyboard to take it back to isometric, and you can see here it's still on the insert line, so I can tick on that, and I now want to go back to my sheet metal tab and my sketch bend. So it's saying bend parameters. So it wants a flat face, a fixed face. So I'm going to keep this bottom face here fixed, and you'll see straight away it's tried to roll or bend it upwards, and you can see here there's 4 different options for the bend position, and this bend position is relative to where you've drawn the line. And if you just click on the different options, it will change the way in which it bends the material. And you can see there the one that I'm actually interested in is this one here. Okay. Now I don't want a 90-degree bend, I actually want a 30-degree bend, so I'm going to click on 30. If I'd wanted it to bend downwards, I can reverse the direction, but I actually want it coming upwards. And it's got a 10mm radius for that curvature there. You can change that and make it a tighter radius if you want, but in reality it's going to be more realistic probably as a 10mm radius, so I'll just leave it as a default radius there. And I'm happy with that, so I'm going to click on the green tick, and my first bend is done. I now need to put a second bend along here, so again I need to go to sketched bend. It wants me to select the face where I want to sketch. I want to sketch on there. The sketch 6 has appeared, so I need to click on sketch 6 and go normal to, and I can then put a line where I want my next bend to be, and I'm going to just drop it just below the circle there, click on the green tick, and I'm going to press Ctrl 7 on the keyboard to take me back to isometric, and it's ready now to have the sketch bend done. So again, accept the line as finished, go back to your sheet metal tab and choose sketch bend, and now it wants to know the fixed face again. Now this time the fixed face is going to be this one. The bend angle is going to be 25, and I'm going to leave the default radius and see what happens. Now it's gone the wrong way, it's come upwards, so I'm going to go back to my sketch bend 2 and I'm going to edit that feature, and I'm going to go the opposite way, and I'm going to click on accept. And in fact I could play around with the position of the lines here and see which one looks best. Actually that one there you can see is folding the curve into the hole, and this small hole in the middle is for a table tennis ball to sit in. It's a little flicker for a desk toy, a little basketball game. So that curve is going to deform the edge of the circle there, so I'm going to choose one of the options that keeps the bend, the end of the bend, outside of that circle. So I'll probably choose that one there. I'm going to click on tick, and I've accepted that. And if I look at that from a side view, you should see that the curve stops. Hit the space bar, look at it from a side view. So the curve, yeah, there's the curve, and then it's back to a flat face by the time it gets there. So I'm just going to press Ctrl 7 to take it to isometric, and you can see now that that's got a finished 2 bends, a 30 degree and a 25 degree. Now you can also take this back to a flat shape if you needed to. So if you've drawn a 3D shape, you could actually take it down to a flat shape. I'm not going to do that just now, but what I am going to do is just finish it off with a nice render, and because it's plastic I always tend to put a very small radius on all the edges so that it gives the very sort of high shine appearance and a soft edge appearance. So I'm going to do it without the soft edge first so you can see the difference. So I've got my menu open, so I'll just close that off. I'm going to go to my appearances. I'm going to choose red plastic, so it's in the, I'll just show you in the menus here. I'm in appearances, open up the plastics, I'm going to choose high gloss, I'm going to drag the red in and drop it on there, and I want that on the whole of the flicker, so I'm happy with that. Now I want to go to my render tools, and if you remember at the beginning I closed the render tools down, so I'm going to right click and add the render tools back in. There we go. So I'm going to click on render tools, so I'm going to so I've selected the integrated preview, and you can see there, because I haven't actually radiused any of the edges, those blue lines, all of the edges look quite sharp, so it doesn't look great. It looks like a really sharp edge piece of plastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the integrated preview off. I'm going to select all of the shape, and I'm going to go to features. I'm going to put a very small fillet onto all of those edges, and that fillet is just going to be very small, 0.2 of a millimetre. Just entering it into the box down there. Then I'm going to click on the green tick, and then I'm going to go back to my render tools and do an integrated preview. And you'll notice there's quite a difference, that the edges now just look that little bit softer. They're picking up on the reflection slightly, so it starts to look a little bit more like a piece of, perhaps a moulded piece of plastic rather than a laser cut sharp edge piece of plastic. And that's the end of the video. If you like the video and would like to see more, then please hit like and subscribe.